Author and entrepreneur Steve Pavlina says, don't settle for anything less than passion and profit. Here on It's My Biz, we meet brave entrepreneurs who are passionate about being in business to make a difference. Join us and make your vote for small business. In tonight's episode, our business owner gets advice and insights from a leading trends analyst, a CEO of a successful recycling business, and the chief passion officer of an unusual marketing company. Tonight's small business owner is Lynn Venter. She runs a waste and recycling business in the Eastern Cape.
With the grace of people around you, and perseverance and faith in the Lord, it can be done. Before Environment, I studied nursing. After the nursing education, I was a stay-at-home mom for my 2 boys. Thereafter, we came down to Jeffreys Bay and I started teaching at their school for a while. And then the Lord sent me on this path of recycling. The company started in 2008 and that is when we got into the recycling. We clean up in the yards of businesses. We collect recyclable material. Because we're in Jeffreys Bay, we cannot collect everything because the transport of getting the stuff to Johannesburg or Cape Town or Durban, where it's got to go, is not always business viable. Our social responsibility, we buy back, especially from schools. There's a Rotary swap shop in St. Francis that we support. Most of our schools here in Jeffreys Bay and some in Humansdorp we support.
What's most difficult about what you do?
Most people have bought in. But it's a change of mindset to separate rubbish from recyclable materials. And a lot of people want you to come to their front door to collect it, pick it up and still to pay them for it. Not realizing the amount of work that goes into sorting, separating, cleaning, baling and then having to send it off to the supplier. It's not financially viable. We were awarded the Koga municipality tender in 2009. But financially we could not afford to fence it off or put electricity on the site. So that is one of our dilemmas at the moment. So we do collect a little bit at the landfill site, but not near as enough as what we want to. Then we have to transport all of that stuff, another 60 k's to our Jeffreys Bay site, where we then process it and bale it and send it off.
So tell me what's the best part of running this business?
Knowing that my people have got food on their table tonight. That's the best business.
What are the top 3 things that are challenging your business right now?
Volumes is one of the greatest challenges. Obviously, the more volume you have, the better price that you get at the end of the day. Also, the transport cost, petrol and diesel is extremely high. I mean, everybody knows that. And then making sure that there's enough money in the bank to pay my people.
So you obviously going to meet some of our thought leaders. What are you hoping to learn from them?
Whatever they can impart, I will be grateful for, that we can move this business further and improve the quality of life of our people here in Jeffreys Bay.
Here she is, tonight's small business trailblazer, Lynn Venter. Lynn says she's looking for volume. The thought leaders will dig deeper and find out more about her business challenges. They'll draw on the experience and knowledge they've gained building successful brands and businesses of their own. Here's more.
Hi, my name is Cal Bruns. My title is Chief Innovationist, but I'm the founder of a company called Matchboxology, and we work with organizations and companies on growth and behavior change, trying to make the world a better place and make a profit while doing so.
Hi, my name is Dion Chang. I'm a trend analyst and I'm the founder of Flux Trends. The company tracks changing social dynamics, global trends, but we specialize in understanding consumer mindset.
Hi, I'm Cherise Goss. I'm the CEO of Petco. Petco stands for the PET Recycling Company. We're the industry body that's responsible for the recycling of post-consumer plastic bottles on behalf of the industry.
In a moment, Lynn will come face to face with the thought leaders to go into her business issues and hopefully find some solutions. That's coming up after the break.
This Friday is Small Business Friday, making your vote for small business. This Friday is Small Business Friday, making your vote for small business.
My name is Lynn Fenter. We have a recycling company called Enviroman. We are situated in the Kocha Municipality District. The challenges that we do have at present, we were given the opportunity of being awarded the Kocha Municipality Waste Tender, which we have not been able to implement as yet. Together with that, we are going to look at putting up of infrastructure, which is buyback centres on the Humansdorp landfill site. For that, we need to look at funding. Also, because we are a small recycler, we have to sell our stuff in small quantities. Obviously, then our prices are less. We would like to get our people involved that are working with us in a shareholding format. So we're needing advice on how to incorporate that.
Lynn, I think that's really great. I'd like to congratulate you because I think on 3 levels your work is key. From a social aspect, the job creation that recycling has, the green economy. From an environmental aspect, the cleaning up and the public service element. And I think too from the commercial aspect, from taking materials that are seen as being scrap and having no value, you've recognized that they're actually a resource that need to be worked. I think in terms of your challenges, one of the positive aspects is with the new waste management legislation in South Africa, municipalities have waste minimization targets, and I think that's good news for your growth because there will be opportunities going forward in partnership with municipalities, unlocking infrastructure, and organizations such as the DTI are focusing on finding funding and providing funding for infrastructural development, for cooperative development. So I think that the timing is very good.
Tell me about your team, Lynn. I know you have some informal and some formal workers.
We have 16 permanent workers, and at the moment we have between 80 and then 120 informal workers or collectors that collect for us.
And how visible are those people as part of your team? Do they have a T-shirt that they wear? Is there any sort of branding that you have?
No, at the moment they don't. My main concern is to pay the people's wages on a Friday afternoon.
What I guess I'm looking at is how are you leveraging that? That's quite a big staff, to further your business. How are they, building it for you? Are they working? Do they feel like they're part of a team? Are they on a mission? Do they have a purpose? That's an opportunity for you. You've got 120 on any given day, 120 walking billboards for what you're doing out there in the community, trying to raise the profile of not just what you're doing, but also the good work that you're involved in. And I completely agree with Sherry that you're in an amazing business. It's a business for profit. You're creating income for a lot of people, but you're also doing something on a higher level. And I'm not sure that all the communities have any sense of what you're doing. And so maybe one idea would be to consider the value of that and how much more participation you might get.
Just on that, do you know what the response would be in a city like Johannesburg? There are pickers on the street, and there's already a sort of a growing culture of actually separating at home and then just leaving a separate bag so that the pickers could come through there. Is there a culture? Is there an opportunity for a culture for that? Do you think the homes would be open to that, which then would match an awareness campaign that Cal's talking about?
There are a few pickers that are more towards the business side of town. I know a lot of homeowners are going to kick up a bohai about people scratching in their bags. I know that's going to come with the territory anyway.
Because if that is your almost primary source of really, really better quality recyclable goods, which will give you a higher profit margin, and it would be a tricky one to balance the volumes of that. But if you're going to get a higher quality and then miss out some steps of having to sort or lessening the sorting process where it's almost sorted, then it would be there. But if you're going to meet resistance from suburbia, then we need to also try and see. And I like what Cal's saying about, you've got all of these people out there and they're walking billboards, and it's to possibly team with are there local newspapers, knock and drops and everything like that to get a mini campaign going?
Just to jump on that, I think one observation is that people often miss the connection. The connection may not be as much environmental as you think. It may be much more community-based. The fact that you're creating employment for 120 people, the fact that you're you're doing something that's quite good, and then maybe, creating a reward for that for the communities in which you're creating this employment. So it's environmentally correct, socially correct, and it makes me feel pretty good about playing with you.
I really like that line of thought, Cal, because some of the examples overseas, in Brazil, for example, they found that once they connected the community with waste pickers, by some simple interventions actually, they gave them vests, for example, so that they stood out in the community. They also had a telephone number on those vests, and that simple method of having someone to contact helped enormously. So they began to identify with the regular people coming to service their area, and they became so much more aware of the valuable service. So I think that that's a very important aspect of it.
Because if I could just refine that as well, I mean, if you kind of look at who you're talking to and trying to communicate with, if there is resistance from, say, suburban households of doing that, is just to shift it generationally as well. Because if you look at your millennial generation, so your generation Y, 18 to 30, there is an inherent DNA in that generation to fix the world and make the world a better place. Their parents might not see that same message, but if you push those buttons about community, about recycling, I think you have there's better traction there. The other question I wanted to ask you was, have you tried any private sector partnerships that would do that? Because I really like the idea with a vest, with a number, but it can be co-branded with another company that wants to get that walking billboard out there. And I think it's a great opportunity because it's cause marketing, and if they can be made to look good, they will jump into it.
Just to offer a marketing suggestion, this concept of upcycling, taking recycled materials and making them into interesting, beautiful things that can be used in your house, be they chandeliers or clothing or whatever, even sculptures. Perhaps one way to raise the profile of the value of doing what you're doing is to use it in a way that becomes advertising for what you're doing.
There are a couple of organizations who run schools competitions on a national basis, and I think if schools participate in that, they're encouraged to learn about recycling, and in some way they're also encouraged to take part. So it's sort of looking out to see where you can leverage those sorts of opportunities and hang your own hat on those hooks.
What we've been talking about is a volume increase. How can we help you get more and a higher level? One thought is for you to take your business and separate it into two businesses. You've got the for-profit. Perhaps you need a non-profit entity to be linked to it, because there are lots of people looking to give money to very worthy projects. The problem is that they can't give it to a for-profit because they don't get the tax credit. So one thought might be to take your entire workforce staff, and create a co-op kind of situation where they're actually a non-profit.
That would lend itself to your wish to create shareholding opportunities and to upskill those people too.
It's an engagement tool. It gets them more involved. And that concept of team, I can't stress enough. To get your group together, all 120 of them, make them feel like a team early in the morning. They're setting out on a mission. They're going to clean up those areas. They're going to make a difference. Get them to belong. Get them to feel that purpose of what you're about. They'll work harder and longer for you.
When we got together in the morning, then we used to pray before we started. But now that we spread out into different communities, how would I get over that barrier?
I think the suggestion is create a ritual that gets people going, whether it's singing, doing exercises, whatever, something that brings them together as a team. They're on a mission. They need to support each other, encourage each other, and even maybe gives you an opportunity to create a bit of competition. Who's the leader today? Who's the leader this week, this month? You want to create a competitive organization. Your job is to really infuse that into their lives and communicate both the fun and the importance of them doing their job every day. So perhaps a team leader in each section is the one who runs it every day. They can take attendance. You can give rewards for attending because that may make people more productive. Measure their productivity as well. Reward them for working hard. Others will see it.
And I think that might feel very unnatural for you because you drill down into the daily operations and a survival mode. But I think it's also really good to look back and see the number of families that the business has supported, but then also to get that message out. So you need to kind of brag a little bit and say how good you are, or all the work that you've done. And I agree with Carl, pressing that community button is going to get you some traction.
Lynn, from a financial perspective, you mentioned that two of your biggest challenges are the increasing cost of transport and, of course, electricity. Have you had an opportunity at all to look at reverse logistics, perhaps, where transport companies are bringing goods into your area, but going back to possibly Cape Town or Johannesburg with empty loads, and looking at the development of potential partnerships?
Unfortunately, not very many people come through Jeffreys Bay because we're off the main route.
Can you just go back and tell me about the competition? I just want to get a sense of what you're up against on that front.
Yes, there are other companies, one in Jeffreys Bay that I know of, and then in Humansdorp there are a couple. They are scrap metal dealers which have now started collecting glass and PET that I know of, and some are doing cardboard as well.
Is there an opportunity for your competitors to become collaborators in some parts of your business? For example, that transport, which seems to be a very expensive part and a universally necessary part. So your competitive advantage, you could focus on the actual people on the ground bringing you the product, but maybe you can share costs and create an economy of scale in transport if several of you guys got together and created a logistics back to Joburg or Cape Town, wherever you go.
I've never thought of that, but yes, I would like to look into that.
Cherie said that the introduction of new waste legislation in South Africa means that the timing of Lynn's business couldn't be better. To grow her business in the private sector, Dion said she should launch an awareness campaign in the community. And Cal recommended Lynn look at using her staff to spread awareness of the good work she's doing. After the break, we'll see what top tips the thought leaders have for Lynn.
This Friday is Small Business Friday, making your vote for small business. This Friday is Small Business Friday, making your vote for small business. Read about this business in the Business Report this Friday.
Cal made a good point. I mean, that you can use your staff to grow your business by, making them more visible in the community. And Cherie suggested that branding vests maybe with telephone numbers. Do you think that's a great idea?
Yeah, I'm so excited. I just want to run with this now, take home and sit with my husband around the table and put our minds together and our thoughts and apply.
Well, Dion said collaboration is the way forward. Even if it means collaborating with your competitors. That should be fun.
It was a shock to hear it initially, but yes, it definitely makes sense. We will run with it.
Well, Lynn, this is it. The final thoughts and top tips from tonight's thought leaders.
Give your people visibility in the community with vests, with t-shirts. They're walking billboards. They'll help you build your business. The second is you have to give them that passion, give them the mission, give them a team spirit. Let them compete with each other to see who generates the most each week, each month. Create leaderboards, create competition between J-Bay, St. Francis, Humansdorp. Get that team spirit going. The third is a sense of seeing where you need to have a competitive edge and where you need to cooperate with your competitors. So what I would suggest is engaging with the guys that you're competing with now and saying, we both have to go to these distant places because of where we're doing business. Perhaps we ought to collaborate on that and we'll agree to compete on the ground collectively.
Firstly, I think the industry that you're in is a growing one. So I don't think you should be at all disappointed or depressed and just keep trying to move forward. And I think one of the most important things that have come out for me today is one of collaboration. With private sector companies, I like the idea of creating a campaign where you go out into these suburbs or into different communities and almost formalize a community of pickers with vests that can be branded or co-branded with a large company that is going to benefit from that in the area. And I think the other collaboration was one that you didn't expect, is to collaborate with some of your competitors and to make that the transporting and that journey to take the bales is I think something that you should definitely explore, and I think everybody can find the slice of the pie which fits perfectly within their own business models.
There's a need in our country for changing our waste management processes, and I think that you can capitalize on that. I think from what you've learned today and what Carl has shared with us, there's a good opportunity potentially to break your business into two sections so that you can capitalize on the not-for-profit portion and look at the development of cooperatives. The job creation elements of the work that you do is very exciting, and in South Africa today, I think that's our most pressing need. From another perspective, I think that the recyclers out there all are looking for material, so collection is where the growth is going to be. And that ties in with what municipalities need, because they are being mandated by national government to send less and less material to landfill. So if I look at the challenges of your business, I think relationship building is where focusing a lot of your attention could pay off dividends for you.
Lynn, you've taken in a lot of valuable advice. What's the first thing you're going to go do when you get back?
As soon as we get back, we're going to work about making teams in the different towns, getting them motivated, getting them going. Then also I'd like to implement the vests to promote our business and to get environment on the map.
Brag a little.
If you call it that, yes.
Call it that. All the best, Lenny.
Thank you very much.
Get the thought leaders' top tips again on the Nedbank Small Business website. That's simplybiz.co.za. You'll also find lots of useful tools and great special offers to help you make things happen for your business. Thanks for joining us on Nedbank's Big Show for Small Business. It's just one of the many ways Nedbank votes small business. Here's more.
Nedbank actively supports and partners with small business in South Africa. In 2012, in association with the National Small Business Chamber, we launched Small Business Friday, an important initiative to help grow small business in South Africa. Small business is important to our economy. It contributes around half of our country's GDP and employs thousands. With your support, small business will be able to employ even more people, harvest more entrepreneurs, drive economic growth, uplift our communities, and make for a greater South Africa for all. On Friday, 6 September, make your vote for small business. You can vote with your heart and support a small business, vote with your feet and visit a small business, or vote with your wallet and buy from or use the services of a small business. For more about joining the Small Business Friday movement, visit simplybiz.co.za. Nedbank is proud to vote small business. Make things happen. Nedbank.
You have a very successful niche business.
And that is attractive to clients.
You'll find that you will then start to create a more sustainable business.
I would use a very soft sell approach to that.
Do not limit yourself to what you can immediately do.
I just ask for some guidance.
You've developed a relationship where they're going to think of you first.
I get such a warm and fuzzy feeling when I see you succeed like that.